Welcome to episode number 22. Welcome to the Daily Crossing. Great to see everybody.
I'm feeling 22.
Man, feeling 22
Everything
today.
will be all right.
Feeling a little older. Feeling a little. You said the 20s were not good to you, so I don't know.
No,
if
no,
that's a
no, no,
good
no,
thing.
not the 20s.
Just
20.
20.
Oh, just 20. That's how it was. Just
Yeah.
Very
20 is-
specific.
21 on, she was good.
Yeah.
Lado
Yeah,
scarf, you know what I mean?
everything
And
else.
then, but maybe that was the defining year.
By the way,
when
not for me. It was for everybody else.
everybody around you decided to.
No. It was look. 20s here in America is different than 20s everywhere else.
So because of you,
No, not because
everybody,
of me. I was
when you were
doing everything
20,
you would do when you're 21. I was doing it when I was 12. But that's like a whole other thing.
Put the numbers around.
Yeah,
Right,
100%.
did he have it right? Guys, we got a number of things to cover right now. I'm just gonna go. Hopefully, we can fit everything in today. Needless to say, we're gonna have a brief conversation about President Biden and his, again, current health and the idea that everybody's, openly concerned about the fact that the man, it looks like he's not gonna be able to even finish his first term. So we'll dive into that a little bit. Jamie Foxx, guys, I really want to do as much as we can on try to understand what is going on with this man, because at this point there's a lot of stuff that it just doesn't make any sense, and I'm hoping that we can shed some light into this situation. Elon Musk decided to go to China, and Tesla stock went up. It's just
The market likes China.
the market
Makes
likes
total sense.
business. The market wants to remain free, and a free capital market has the capability, and you can see when positive reactions can take place. But we'll go into that for a minute. Ron DeSantis, right now he is definitely becoming a point of concern for a lot of people. You can see the news media reacting. You can see the DNC, the Democrats, are really looking at this guy saying, this guy's a real threat, And so just about every single one of his political rallies and everything that he's doing for the campaign stops, and they are pretty much expecting to be heckled every step of the way. One of them just happened, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. Guys, I don't know if you remember when also, this is super interesting because it highlights how politicians sometimes just don't have a clue of what it is that they're talking about. They never clear about the numbers because they don't operate on real life, right? And so Elizabeth Warren at some point was like feuding back and forth with Elon Musk about, not paying enough taxes. And he goes, I pay more taxes than anybody else in the country at this very moment. Combined, right? And he's saying, and she goes, with $6 billion, we can fix the whole issue that we have going on with the homeless population. He said, if that's all it takes, he said, I will sell some stock. He said, but I want to see the plan on how you're going to fix it. And of course, that went down. Here's the little problem, though. California is already spending $17 billion. Just the state of California spending $17 billion. So I guess six was a little off.
Those are some fancy tents.
I'm trying to understand what the hell is going on, but we'll get back into that. And the final thing is student loans. The party's over. The whole forgiveness, either
being forgotten.
lump sum or the payments that were deferred for some people. I guess it's time to start paying back again. So hopefully we can cover most of the stuff here. Good to see you guys, and to see everybody getting a little
Same here, yes.
little younger and skinnier. And
It's happening.
It's happening, right?
That Benjamin Button
that was
syndrome.
is that what it is?
Yes.
So where were you when you saw our president tripping into what they call the sandbag gate or something like that? It's, and this poor man, and by the way, to his credit, he tried to get up though. He just couldn't.
He could. No, I don't know.
He tried to get up by himself, like he really made an attempt.
So I feel like
He just couldn't. I still wouldn't say. I don't.
So I feel like he could have got up if they would have. They didn't give him the chance to. Like it would happen so fast.
What, you need
so
another
fast.
10 minutes?
Yeah.
Roll around a little bit, a couple of times, just try.
Here's the thing. I feel like.
Stop, drop, and roll.
No. So I feel like no matter what happens, it seems worse because he's the president. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like if I fall, people don't really care if I
By the
fall.
way,
Didn't you just fall?
Yeah, but still, it's different when you're the president, you know. But like I said, I've always had a theory that I think.
but shouldn't you know that? Shouldn't everyone know that? That you're the president.
Yeah.
And if you happen to be a guy who's constantly falling,
Yeah.
shouldn't everybody, hey guys, we gotta clear everything,
Mhm,
and somebody's gotta stand by
Yeah,
because
yeah.
there's I mean, you know, listen, all joke aside,
Yeah.
right? The man is an older man
A lot of.
who's, you know what I mean, who's having issues with some basic movement,
Yeah.
basic mechanical movement.
Yeah.
And the fact, and like I said, he goes down. That happens to the best of us,
True.
right?
I have a
Like,
question.
Yes.
He's fallen 3 times, at least in the public sphere.
Today he bumped his head coming off
no.
Air Marine One, the helicopter. You know, as they got, he took it, boom.
So-
I don't know.
So here's my question.
Yeah.
How many times does it happen where it hasn't been recorded? Like,
Probably a lot.
I wonder
Yeah.
that, you know? It's like how many, like, is the Oval Office right now
Yeah,
padded?
that's
You
fine.
know?
But
like,
that's fine. But like I said, me, I think, like I said, I think there should be a age limit on becoming a president. But I believe that most people think the president could be like the Queen of England, where you could be 105, still be the president. I don't
but
agree
the
with
Queen
it,
of England is not-
but I think that's what people think it's okay to do, as long as.
Well,
Because really, it's not like the president is going to go into a boxing match, so I guess maybe it doesn't matter.
no,
if
but
you're-
here's the difference between us and just about any other country.
Yeah.
The president, in addition to running the executive branch of the
Mhm.
country, he's the commander in chief
Mhm.
of the army,
Yeah.
right?
in charge of the military.
He's in charge of the military across the board.
Yeah.
Right. So, you need somebody that is cognitive enough, you know what I mean, functional enough to be able to deal with some of the, not just the internal, but the domestic issues. Obviously, are already the country right now is definitely facing a significant amount of issues.
But
at an international level, though, you know what I mean.
what
We
I'm
have
saying
a
is,
madhouse going
I
on.
don't know if this is just me. I don't think the president has that much responsibilities in actuality. I mean, maybe he's supposed to, but I don't think the militaries, before they decide what they're gonna do on each step of the way, will say, "Oh, hold on, let's check with the president." No, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. I think they have teams of people outside of the president that will be more involved on a day-to-day basis. Versus, not saying that the president doesn't get updated, but I don't think he's doing nowhere near
So
as
you're
much.
part of
So
the
you think it's fine?
You're part of the camp that
No,
actually.
I'm not saying he's
No,
fine.
no.
I'm just saying I think that
don't
it
think
doesn't
that's-
make a difference with what he's doing.
I
I
don't-
think his roles is to do what he does now, which is to show up, say these couple words, and that's it. He's not controlling the world
I think
as
that
we
you're-
think.
He's supposed to be
Nah.
the leader of the free world.
Sounds
But
good.
he's
So
part
you
of
think
the-
what is
Sounds
happening?
good.
Hold on a second. He's part of the camp that actually believes that the president really is more of a figurehead.
Yeah, that's it.
Regardless
Yeah,
of who it is,
correct.
it's not even so much. It's
100%.
not just.
Yeah.
It's not. This is not just a Joe Biden type of situation.
Yeah.
This is, you're saying the president of the United
Correct,
States,
correct.
more of a figurehead
Yeah.
person to show up, will deliver a nice,
Exactly.
hopefully a nice
Yeah,
speech
exactly.
without falling,
Yep,
and then.
yep.
And that's it, right?
Yeah.
You go back
He's
home
not
and,
making no decisions.
and you ask your wife, honey, how did I
You
do?
ever see that episode
Okay.
of The Simpsons
No.
where they have they got 4 plans? You got to see it. It's hilarious. But they was like, all right, so Mr. President, which one do you want? A, B, C, or D? He's like, D. He's like, no, you don't want that one. C. No, you don't want that. B. Okay, perfect. Good choice, President. Good choice, Mr. President. That's what's going on
No,
right now.
whoa. Do you think that's been happening?
What do you
Yes,
think?
100%.
So
Yeah,
for me,
100%.
here is how I view the president, not the current president, but
Yeah.
here's the way. For me, the role of the president is like the CEO of a company,
Yeah.
and you have some really good CEOs,
Yeah.
and you have some really shitty CEOs.
That's
true.
And so for me, like when we exercise the right to vote, right, and it's exercise, it's not
Yeah.
ice cream your way to vote, you know. So everybody should vote,
Yeah, yeah.
right? It's not like let's go get ice cream. It's exercise for a reason. So that being said, it's like we are choosing the CEO that is gonna be running this company called the United States.
Yeah.
And so the ability, the skills of the president, even though maybe they're not making every decision,
Yeah.
but just like a CEO in a company, they don't run marketing, they don't run accounting, they don't run accounts payable or receivable or human resources, but they sure as hell need to have a pulse of what's happening everywhere, and they need to be involved in the key decision makings that happen within every single one of those departments. I'm sure that there are briefings and stuff like that. That's how I see the president.
Yeah.
So the fact that that is not like it at this very moment, at this very moment, you're absolutely right. I just refuse to believe, number one, that is the way that it should be running. Number one, that's not the way that it should be running. And number two, we need to as a country get our stuff together and put somebody that could be a really good CEO.
Let me just say this one last thing. I'm not saying that's what should happen. I think that's what is happening. And then just like you mentioned,
no,
with
but
the
you
CEO,
say it's happening, meaning like it's happened. Like how long has it been happening?
I think every president has the choice to decide to be more involved or not. And I think we as a country are so smart, right?
Yeah.
To where even if the president is not going to do his job properly, that we're not going to sacrifice the country because of it. So then if the president, just like a good CEO can choose to say, oh, I need to know what's happening and I need to have my pulse on my business. I need to know what's going on. But if it's a really good company, you can kind of sit back, play golf. The company is going to run on its own. I think the country will do the same thing.
Because you're saying it's been going on for a little bit.
Yeah.
You're saying that when Trump was president, the same thing was happening?
No, I think Trump, because he's a business guy, he wants to be more involved, and the door is open for him to do that if he chooses to.
Okay.
But if he chooses to decide to be a celebrity, things are going to still happen.
No, 100%. Yeah, I get that. But no, I'm asking because this is things that happened in the past.
Yeah.
So, I want to hear kind of where you're at when it comes to that. So, it's like, okay, so Trump was an engaged CEO.
I think he was up until the pandemic shut everybody down. And then once the pandemic started, it's like, okay, now it's different. Now I'm not allowed
Fauci became president.
I'm not allowed to do what I want to do because.
So what you guys are describing?
So hang on. So sorry, one last question. I'm sorry. What about Obama?
Oh, same things. he's a great speaker. He's gonna make movies, by the way. Just so you know, Obama, he got a new documentary out. That's what he was doing from before.
14 books, 17 movies.
Correct. So he's a great speaker. He's a great actor.
He came out and said, guys, I know how to play the president.
Correct. Yes, and he does a great job doing it. But now, does that mean he's the best person to run a business?
No, but was he engaged?
I don't think as much.
He was.
No.
So you're saying Trump was more engaged than Obama?
I think so, but that's because of just his background. I think just because his background. Yeah.
I think that guys. All right. Yeah. So just to give you a little bit of what you both are stating is a little bit of right, a little bit of wrong in both case scenarios, right? Mm-hmm. Historically speaking, the office of the presidency was actually set up to never mirror what a monarchy would look like. Mm-hmm. So essentially, it is, the Senate, it is Congress, it is governors, per state. They were supposed to be playing even a bigger, the judicial side of just to again, what we put together as a country is a very well-oiled machine. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There really is a system in place when it comes to running the country. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here's the good news, right? If you want to be a fully engaged president that will really say, let me roll up the sleeves and let me get down to work and let me make something happen, you can do that. Mm-hmm. If you want to be the guy who's just going to be playing golf and say, hey, I know there's something, what are the choices again? Yeah. So if you want to be that guy, you know what I mean? You can also do that and the system will still work. Yeah. Now, obviously, listen, today, not just on a national level, and when we're gonna do a whole special about El Salvador, you know what I mean, with Nayib Bukele.
Oh yeah, that guy.
That's what a country looks like when a president says we're gonna really get. I mean, you're talking about a transformational for the first time. I'm from Honduras. This is a neighboring country. We went to war in 1969, as a matter of fact, between El Salvador and Honduras. I think it was like a soccer game that triggered the whole thing. You know how it is. It's like, man, it's like
sounds about right.
Something silly. You know what I mean? But whatever the case was, what I'm saying to you is like for the first time, I'm saying if it ever came about, the possibility of a uniting Central America and having a single president this will be the ideal guy to actually become that person. I don't know if that will ever be possible, but if it did, but I'm just highlighting to you like what happens when you actually have a hands-on, very effective type of president.
Yeah.
It goes back to, like a good CEO that really wants to see results and wants to see how things actually work. When you don't have a good president or somebody who's not fully engaged, and it really is just, I'm gonna play the role, and you guys tell me what do you want me to do. And sadly enough, you know what I mean, Ron DeSantis made a statement saying a couple of things. One, and obviously even connected to the fall, said it's sad and frustrating, you know what I mean, to see. But he's also highlighting that is the reality of the presidency of Joe Biden, you know what I mean? Not only similar, but probably worse at this point than Jimmy Carter, you know what I mean? It's like the late Jimmy Carter was a president that was heavily criticized for, and man, the economy paid a price for a lot of choices, maybe well-intended, you know what I mean? It's that false mercy that everybody talks about, sometimes, or misguided so-called set of good ideas. But here you have somebody saying, listen, unfortunately, it's sad and frustrating to see what's going on here. And I don't understand how this man is thinking about running. I don't understand how, by the way, his handlers, the people around him, the rest of the political structure, the DNC, everybody saying, it's like, come on, let's.
But watch this, and just to go with what you're saying. If I'm somebody who can control the country from behind the scenes, I may want him to run again because that gives me more power.
Because he's the easiest guy to control.
Manipulate. 100%. So I could see why a lot of people would want him to be there because now they're like,
you can also see why a lot of people who are part of that system, the so-called swamp, right, did not want somebody like Trump to be.
I get because now you can't push him over.
It's also the reason why they may not want somebody called Robert Kennedy, right? It's just because he's another guy that's coming in as an outsider, essentially. And they don't want that. They're not going to be able to control that guy either. He's a legitimate contender, though. He really is a legitimate contender.
They're talking about him again today.
I think.
Do you think he'll out-primary this guy, like Biden? Because he's making a good argument out there. He's everywhere. So he's putting the work to put himself out there. I hope people will give him a fair chance. You know what I mean? I think that is better than what we have going on right now. But I also know for a fact that we still don't have everybody that's running is not in yet. They have till August, right?
They're talking about a couple of other big names out there. Again, from California and Michelle Obama, who Alexis is like eagerly waiting for.
He's gonna be like, and vote.
Bro, how can you vote based on that just disqualifies you from that? Who's that? Is that a Latino guy? It's like President Jose
Pacheco.
Because at the end of the day, here's the thing: if it's gonna be a show, I want to make sure that I get the right representation for which person is playing which role in the show. Because at the end of the day, somebody's got to be Superman. You get what I'm saying? Somebody's got to be that.
No.
So I want to know.
He wants the president to look. He wants the president to look presidential.
I need you to unpack.
Doesn't care about anything else.
So here it goes. So there's a lot of superheroes, right?
Yes.
You can choose the superhero to be any way. They can look any kind of way, correct? Why is it that most superheroes always look the same? I don't want that. Why? I believe in diversity. Right?
Who's gonna DEI the White House?
So I want to know.
The same.
I want to know that
Spider-Man doesn't look anything like Superman, and Batman doesn't look anything.
They're all white. Is what I'm saying.
Half of the superheroes are gay right now.
Where are you
and trans.
Half of them are black and gay. By the way,
it's
like everybody's going three. Everybody decided to go three strikes. Most of the new. Right?
Black, gay, and
Aquaman is just Aqua now because we don't.
That was a terrible band.
Aqua neutral.
But what I'm saying is I'm cool with that. I want to see.
Well,
superheroes from every culture. I want to see that everybody gets the proper
Why?
representation.
Maybe every culture doesn't.
No, I disagree with you.
No.
It's gotta be the most qualified person. I really don't give a hoot.
True.
What you look like.
I get you.
You could be
But watch
missing
this.
all your arms and legs. I don't care. You know, like it's like it doesn't matter what you look like. You have to be the most
Unfortunately,
qualified person.
I agree. That should be the case. But unfortunately, that's not the case based off of what we're seeing right
No, but
now.
you're saying what you want.
The most qualified person is not going to be. So if I got to choose between Biden, who's falling all over the place, right? Who don't know what he's doing, who's way too old to be in the seat, I have something that can benefit a whole different generation or a whole different culture in a different way. Other than that, doesn't benefit anybody. Who's being benefited by Biden?
Who's gonna
now? There's no one who benefits
I'm
from
still
that.
not clear about what the
There's
argument
no
is.
one who
I'm
benefits from
very
it.
confused.
All right, so here goes. Let me break it down.
Yeah.
See, I didn't want to go this deep. So here's what happens, right? So before Barack Obama, right, there was no black president, right? So then there were kids.
Bill Clinton was.
Right, right. So then there were kids now who are black who, in their brain, it's impossible for them to become president because it hasn't been done yet.
Before Obama.
Before Obama.
Okay.
Now that there's been a black president, there's kids growing up saying, I can now do that. Right? So if the president in itself isn't going to do anything, period, I'd rather put somebody there who's going to now encourage a kid who didn't believe they could do that at one point to now think, no, I could take over the world.
So
Tim Scott is running.
No. I get it, but I'm saying we just need one. We don't need 100 of them, right? But I'm not saying it works that way all the time.
let me ask you
So
something.
you're not looking for the most qualified. Her question is based on, are you looking for the most qualified person to be sitting there, or are you just looking for?
No, I'm looking for two
some
things.
level of representation.
I'm looking for two things. So there's the person who's
it's his own Alex's own
yeah,
DEI.
correct. So there it goes. No, watch. No,
ESG
but
agenda.
no, this is important. So there's two things. One, you gotta be able to do a good job as far as the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But there's also a show that's going on that you have to do a good job of doing.
So let me ask you something.
You gotta look presidential.
Yes, if you don't do that part right, that's not gonna look good. I don't want you to be the genius who don't know how to speak, but you're the president. No, go sit down somewhere.
We had a few of those.
But what I'm saying, you don't want. That's not good.
Yeah.
You can't be in front of other countries.
Trump
talking
struggled
about
reading the teleprompter. You know what I mean?
but
George W. You know what I mean? It was like at some point he was like, "What?"
but that's not good.
What
That's
did
not
he
good for
just
the
say?
country.
But compared to what we have right now,
Yeah,
those
no,
guys
yeah.
look
Correct.
like, where are you, George?
That's what I'm
W? Like,
saying.
they
No,
look phenomenal.
I get you. But that's also a part of the.
Doesn't matter if you're drunk.
Let's imagine Biden is secretly like a genius behind the scenes and all he can't imagine that.
I can't.
But that's what I'm saying.
No,
but that's
but-
because
so-
of his.
Limited
That's because of his
imagination.
presentation
Show me.
in the open. But if his presentation in the open was better, people would have more confidence in his abilities. Is what I'm saying.
I mean,
So you gotta have swag.
So let's say Biden is unable to finish his presidency. Do you think Kamala is hopefully not?
It's gonna make it look
Hopefully
even
this
better.
hopefully this guy makes it.
I mean, she'd be better.
So, listen,
But
I
do you
understand.
think Kamala fits that because she fits all of the she
not
fits the look?
necessarily.
What do you mean?
Not necessarily. I mean, in some situations, but
I
not
mean,
really.
seriously.
So what is the difference between?
Seriously speaking, I understand when you're coming from in terms of presentation, delivery. That was one of the things that, people like Ronald Reagan, people like Bill Clinton, people like Barack Obama, right? It's like, again, their ability to deliver a message, you know what I mean? It was second to none. I mean, I would say that those three presidents in my lifetime, you know what I mean, has been presidents that they definitely knew how to deliver a message. They definitely look presidential. I'm with you with all of that. But at the same time, I believe that not only Ronald Reagan, but and I'm going to give the devil what the credit is due, right? I believe that Bill Clinton got involved enough. I mean, that was the last time we actually had a balanced budget in this country. You know what I mean? I believe that Barack Obama also wanted to make a difference going. I mean, this guy was somebody that you describe as a true believer. You know what I mean? Like he really went in there thinking about. But then you run into the same issues that a Donald Trump ran into. It's the same issues that a Barack Obama ran into, which is the same level of that system that is already in place will offer a lot of resistance to whoever the president is, regardless of any political party in the nomination, if it doesn't fit their agenda. Right? And that's where we all have to come to terms to say, unless somebody's coming in. So why do I like Ron DeSantis right now? Because I feel that Trump had an incredible opportunity to go in there, clean up, and just couldn't do it. And maybe, and you highlighting something very important. COVID comes in, his whole game plan out the door.
That definitely.
Because up until that point, I mean, this guy was like right on the money with everything, foreign and national, domestic, right? That happens, he's out there. He's essentially lost. But what do I do? So now he had to rely on the whole structure that didn't like him, a structure that wanted nothing to do and just wanted him out because he was making that effort. So Ron DeSantis is one of the things that he's saying is, I am going to use whatever is already in place as far as and as much as I can use when it comes to the executive power, and that goes back to the issue of a monarchy presidency, right? They can become a problem, but he's saying, I'm going to use it as much as I can so that I can make changes as soon as possible, as fast as possible. Okay, so here are 7 things that I think would be important for us to consider when you're measuring the person that should be our president, commander-in-chief. Right? You know, I think that these are 7 basic, simple things. First of all, it's got to be somebody that understands that we are leading at an international level, but that we should continue to lead on international level.
Gotcha.
Meaning you got to be very proficient to what's going. You got to have your pulse on what's going on around us, because there's a lot of people around us that wants to hurt the country, right? So foreign policy, anything that deals with the international, you got to know who's a friend, who's a foe. We don't have a lot of friends out there. Believe it or not, at this very moment, we don't have a lot of friends out there. A lot of people depend on us. Depends on the country, depends on many of the choices that we do here financially, but we don't have a lot of friends. We got to become very clear about that. Second, you got to have a pulse on what's going on at a domestic level. You know, the country right now is going through a significant crisis. It's an identity crisis. It's a morality crisis. And I don't like to moralize. I'm the last person to be moralizing about anything. But at the same time, when something gets so out of hand that you can't hide it anymore, you say, okay, we're really going wrong here right now, right? So third thing is, you got to understand the economy. You got to know that you can, it's like getting out, like you're saying. You're gonna deliver a message, and you got to do it in a way that hopefully is going to have a positive impact on how people are going to react to it. You know, simple acts and statements. Listen, I can just highlight what happened with Elon Musk going to China. That's a business move, but at the same time, that's signaling something to the market. It's like, hey, the Chinese don't like me, and I actually don't like them. But I'm willing to come to the table. Because my responsibility as the CEO of this company is to grow the company, to grow the profits of the company. Immediately the stock went up. That's the CEO. I want my president to be able to act like that and to behave that way. The next point would be point number 4 is to be respectful of the Constitution, to not to be willing to defend it. You know what I mean? To be faithful in the sense that you're not going to try to come up with a million ways to change it. That you are going to respect and protect what makes us very unique and very special. Point number 5 would be also respectful of a free market economy. Capitalism is what got us where we are. Is it perfect? No. But it's 1,000,000 times better than anything else there is available out there. So I'm hoping that the next person that's coming in as a president is going to say, you know what, we tried this, we tried that. This is definitely not going well. Look at what they're doing in that state. Look what they're doing in that country. We're going to stick to what we know that already worked for us. We don't have to discover the wheel, right? So free market capitalism. I want to see a president that loves America. I am deeply concerned about people that would be my point number 6. You know, I'm deeply concerned about people running for this for president in significant, very important political roles, where you literally have to question as to whether or not they love the country. That to me is just insane. You shouldn't even be allowed to take office. It's just, again, that's what happens when you're in a free market society. Even the crazies get the chance to participate and stuff. And the last thing is, like I said, willing to defend it. You know what I mean? Protect the borders of this country. Fight when it's needed. Make sure that everybody knows that, hey, we want to be at peace with everyone. We want to be friends with everybody, but we're willing to knock you down and kick your ass if we have to. Don't believe and don't try or don't assume that we're just going to sit around and not do anything. Those basic 7 points is what I really hope to see from the president.
And,
you know what I mean?
and just to clarify, I agree with
and
everything.
I do want him to look presidential.
Correct, yes. And I agree with everything you're saying. But if a person has every single one of those qualities, but doesn't know how to communicate that or doesn't look like that, we'll never get that far to even find out if that's the case.
I get it.
So I'm just saying, you can't take that out of the equation as if it's not important, because it's just as important.
You know what's freaking sad?
What's that?
It's the fact that we have to have this conversation because of the current president that we have.
Well,
because it's like that. For me, like the fact that you are even thinking about the way that they look and the way that they sound. And that's why the question that I'm asking is, and I thank you for those points. I think we can actually package this into like a short and be like, this is what you should be paying attention to. Because this is the stuff that is relevant. You can sound and you can look all kinds of good, but at the end of the day, if you're a shitty CEO, you end up, forget about Bob Iger right now and whatever the hell he's doing. Like, let's go to the Bob Iger that got Disney to the Disney that became, and then the other Bob that replaced him that put it in a shithole. It's like that is what literally we're seeing as far as when it comes to a whole country. And so we need to and I take very seriously the message that we're putting here for you guys, for everybody that is listening. I'm hoping that people are watching and that they're paying attention. And it's not one party, it's not the other. Although one party right now seems to be completely crazy, even though they sound and they look good.
Correct.
That's the whole point. It's like there's a whole bunch of people that are out there making terrible decisions that are affecting your pocket, my pocket, that is affecting our ability to do business, to communicate, to feel, to like our children being able to go to school. All of these things are happening because people are voting on I look good and I sound good, but they're not paying attention to the other things. They're not paying attention to values and principles.
But all I'm saying is this, and I agree. I'm just saying we cannot dismiss. And I have to say this on purpose because I think a lot of people go to the other extreme. They think it's okay to be an expert and not look the part. You must also look the part. I don't all this whole mentality that I can look any kind of way or it doesn't matter how. That's not true.
But who is on the table right now that doesn't do that?
No,
outside of Biden, forget that.
No, I'm not talking about just the presidency. So what? For example, there's different definitions of what looks good. Do you get what I'm saying? So then you was like, oh, there's a lot of people who on the other side they look good. Not to me. I don't think they all look good. That's what I'm saying. So like the definition of what a good man or a good woman looks like changes depending on who you talk to. You get what I'm saying? So I don't think all of it looks the way it should look. And what I'm saying is that's also important. And it's not more important than these things. It's just also important. That's all I'm saying. So.
Well, let me close it by telling you. I remember. In New York, I have 3 partners. One of them was Greek, the other one was Italian. And one of the guys, the Greek guy, was, and again, Greek descendancy, born in the country, you know what I mean? So he's definitely an American. He was a guy, he was a Rush Limbaugh guy, you know what I mean? He was like right to the right of the right, you know what I mean? He was just that guy that, you know what I mean? Everything, once in a while, he will come to the office wearing sweatpants, with the American flag all throughout the whole, and I'm like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? So, but I remember one day we watching the news. I don't know what's going on, but the 3 of us, we having a cup of coffee, the TV's on, we're watching the news, and Bill Clinton is coming out of Marine One, right? He's coming down, he's walking to the White House, And then somebody calls in from Marine One because apparently he forgot to sign something. So the guy walks back, leans into it. Kind of, you know when you have one leg to the side, but you kind of like leaning down.
Yeah.
And so they got all these documents, you know what I mean? And somebody messed up that allowed him to get off. And he's signing all these things. And he's looking at the whole thing and he goes, he looks so damn presidential, you know what I mean? Like even being that hardcore. So I do want to validate your point, but I'm going to tell you at this point, what we know is that more than ever, we definitely need substance. We need the best, better qualified individual. And I'm hoping that person also knows how to deliver a message, because right now, language is going to be super important. We're going to need the clarity to come out of where we are right now, though. You're going to need a very good communicator. And you're going to need somebody who's very clear about the things that we need to do to come out of where we are as a country right now, because we are not in a good place. Domestically, we are definitely not projecting anything that sounds or looks positive at an international level. So,
or the economy, or the Constitution, or free market, or...
But guys, I appreciate your perspective, you know what I mean? Because I know this was super important to, took us many places, you know, who knew? Just falling down one more time can take us into different. But, guys, I wanted to cover a little bit of this current situation that's going on with Jamie Foxx. I first got introduced to Jamie Foxx watching In Living Colors.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you know. Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
Like that he's
You are that
playing.
old.
Yes.
That's in your time.
And you know,
I know what I'm talking about.
like the guy was just like something not normal, especially when he was playing the role of, what was the name?
I don't remember the girl. Something.
Shonda or something like
I
that.
don't know,
So
something.
I don't know what the name was. Like he dressed up like a girl, and he was. You can tell that there was a level of uniqueness to that. Then you learn that the guy is really versatile.
Yeah,
That he can do everything.
sing, act,
Acting is
everything,
a comic. He literally serious movies. He can make you laugh. He can make you cry.
True.
Just great music. Phenomenal guy, right? Phenomenal guy. Now, so the rumor is, and it's not. The problem is that, and I want to be very clear. I'm using that term for a reason. The rumor is because there is no confirmation from not a single camp, not his family, not his handlers, meaning agents, not the hospital. Nobody is really coming out to confirm what's really going on with this guy. But it's been going on for a while, and there's a lot of confusion. And one of the reports that came out is that it appears that as a result of his COVID-19 shot that he took, that he's now paralyzed from a portion of his body, or one side of his body, and he's also blind. Given the fact that he ended up playing the role of Ray Charles, which is a blind man, in the movie Ray, I mean, it's just even painful to consider that that's a possibility, a realistic possibility for this man. The fact that the hospital is not coming, if he is in a hospital, because nobody knows, there were claims from his daughter saying, no, he's been out for a couple of weeks. We were playing. If that is the case, I think it's time to either show some pictures.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to come out and make an official statement. If it's in a hospital, however much privacy, most people that are famous, they want some level of privacy. They want to make sure that certain things are not disclosed. But somebody at this point has to say, here's the official statement.
Yeah.
He is here. We are caring for this man.
Yeah.
We're not ready to disclose all the details about his current health condition, but he is here. He's with us. We're going to continue to do the best that we can to. Because now they're talking about the possibility, if he doesn't die, because and this is the crazy stuff, they're talking about the possibility of him dying. It appears that the vaccine, if that is the reason, and again, we don't know if it was just a stroke, if it was just something, an aneurysm that happened for other reasons, hypertension, you know what I mean? It's like certain communities, you know what I mean, are more prompt to this kind of situations. He could be a guy that's got so much going on, and maybe I don't know if he's eating proper. He always looks in good shape, but that's also not a you know what I mean, the best indicator. What do you guys know about this thing, and what is your take? You know what I mean? And I want to, before I hand it over to you guys, there was a video there. Cat Williams is having a conversation and I don't know who the other person was. I think it was actually Snoop. And he's going into the whole, a little bit of a conspiracy theory about, if you're a black actor and you're making too much money at some point when they decide that they don't want you to make. Yeah, I think he already got to the point, and some of those people are the ones responsible for what's going on. That's a whole different animal.
Correct.
But I feel that it's more health related, not business related. They created that condition.
Yeah, so for me, when I first heard that he was in the hospital, immediately I started hearing about like different conspiracies, which was that somebody was trying to like hurt him intentionally, and then he came out that it was something connected to COVID, which just makes it a whole different can of worms.
Correct.
And I think what the thing is, it's not so much that they don't want you to make too much money, is they don't want you to make too much money without them. Do you get what I'm saying? And then so if you start making deals on your own, they're gonna try to find a way to shut you down. Versus if they making money from you, they don't have no issue with that, right? So I don't know how true any of that is, but from the second that he was in the hospital, I was hearing different things that this wasn't a mistake, this wasn't something natural, this was something that was caused by someone or some group of people. So I heard that from the beginning. Now, when it comes to just COVID vaccines,
but by the way, before let me just jump into what you're saying right now. So there's two different scenarios there somewhere already were mentioned. Somebody tried to equate the situation with Kanye, saying, "Well, look what happened to him, right? He decided to go on his own. I'm gonna make my own stuff and they shut it down in 2 seconds.
They don't play it.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, there's a few statements that he put out. There was a moment where you're saying, okay, you're losing your mind. I mean, they just didn't look well. So for me, was a little bit of both. Maybe that you're losing your mind, and the stuff that you're saying we don't like, we're gonna shut you down. So it could be a little bit of. But then I look at a guy like Floyd Mayweather. You know what I mean? Who literally bought his own rights, you know what I mean, removed himself from having a handler, became his own promoter, made the kind of money that people can only dream of. You know what I mean? This is a guy who's either very close or at some point will be a billionaire, you know what I mean, just out of what he was able to successfully do. And nobody... To the argument that somebody has the power to shoot you, you're always going to have enemies. You always, you know. By the way, Patrick is writing a new book, and Patrick Bet-David is writing a new book, and the title of the book, I'm able to disclose it already because he's spoke to us a couple, and it's called "Choose Your Enemies Wisely."
That's funny.
That's awesome.
That makes sense.
Right,
But to go what you're saying. So, according to what they say, right, is somebody like Floyd, he's doing exactly that. So, yes, he's made a bunch of money, but he made sure whoever needed to also be in on the deal, they were in on the deal.
Everybody was making money.
Everybody was making money with him. So then he did it in a way to where he didn't get the wrong people pissed off. And then it goes into different avenues. So then with actors, it's a little different. So Dave Chappelle talks about this a lot, where they tried to shut him down, not because of the money he was making, but because he didn't want to play certain roles.
He didn't want to wear a dress. By the way, seriously speaking, that was one of the things. He was already in a movie, and he said, I walked into my trailer. He said, and there was a dress. He said, I thought I was in the wrong trailer. There was a dress there.
He was like,
and the writer came in. He's like, you have no idea. Today we're gonna have this. It's gonna be so funny. And so you're gonna be exiting, and when you're running, and you're gonna be wearing the dress. And he's like, He's like, I'm not wearing a dress. Like, oh, come on, man. It's gonna be. The director came in. Why do you have to be so difficult?
Yeah, exactly.
Like he's telling Oprah the whole thing about I'm not willing. I'm not gonna be that guy.
So then, in his situation, it was more of he wasn't doing something. In some situations, it might be okay. We don't like how you're making your money. So I think it's a mix. You get what I'm saying between whether they want you. Now in Jamie Foxx's case, I don't know, but I definitely think there's something fishy
he's a very
going on with
savvy
it.
Guy. He's a very good actor. He knows the industry very well. He's been there long enough. He has a very clear sequence of opinions about everything that's going on in the market and the acting world. I mean, the guy, to me, is somebody has a very good pulse on what's going on in that environment. I will have a hard time accepting that he was. I mean, he already wore the dress to top it off. You know what I mean? So I'm having a hard time that he got to a point where he was not willing to play ball with anybody because he's also a business guy. You know what I mean? So I think, and as a business guy, I think he knows how to compromise in certain areas. You know what I mean? And just,
but what I was gonna say with there's a whole.
But by the way, that is one of the theories out there connected to the whole idea that he probably got somebody angry business-wise.
But what I was gonna say, let's assume none of that happened.
Yeah.
If it was just as simple as, hey, to do this movie, you got to get this vaccine. That in itself is a whole conspiracy. Because lucky that I don't have facts, but I heard of a lot of situations where a lot of people in different professions where either they got messed up, either physically or financially because of something with COVID, where people were getting...
That is actually facts.
They were getting threatened to where you're going to lose your whole 401k, you're not going to have a job if you don't get vaccinated, you know? And then also there was a lot of pilots who were getting vaccinated and then they were like getting sick. You get what I'm saying? So there's a lot of different things connected to the whole COVID vaccine to where even if there was no whole, oh, you pissed off the wrong people, just forcing him to do it for a movie, which we know people were doing, where to keep their job, they had to get vaccinated whether they wanted to or not. That in itself is a problem. And it's a different type of conspiracy, but it's still one to be concerned about.
Possible. Anything is possible. I'm open to
Look, people go to get the flu vaccine and they're jacked up for like 3 days. You know, so, and by the way, the flu vaccine is something that has been like around for a really long time and they revamp it or whatever. Right. But anytime you have the tetanus shot, whatever it is, any jab that you get, everybody gets messed up. You know what I mean? It's like very rarely, it's either you have a fever, you're out for a couple of days, you can't raise your arm. You know, when something is developed that fast, probably, you know, that is an actual possibility. And the fact that people are just like oblivious and not thinking that is a possibility is silly. I agree with you with the whole fact that it's not speculation. No, people lost their job. Servicemen and women had to leave the military. There were people in different cities and states that had to could not go into their work environment because they didn't comply with the whole vaccination thing. You know, my heart is with the family. Just because, you know, it sucks to be in a situation, whatever it is. If it's health related, you know, it really sucks. As far as the repercussions, I really didn't know much about it. But I do have a clear position when it comes to, shoot, man, like, if it comes to vaccination and different things like that, it's the whole concept of your body, your choice. You know, it's like that's one of those things that it shouldn't be forced upon anybody. But you're free to choose to get it, and you're free to choose not to.
I'll say this real quick. I believe that the COVID vaccine companies, they would much rather hear that somebody was trying to kill him for money or somebody 100%. Was trying to he didn't want to do this role versus it was just as simple as he got vaccinated.
You mean they will help promote the conspiracy that talks about
100%.
It wasn't us, it was somebody else.
It was somebody else.
Outside of everything else that is connected to who may be responsible, what really happened, my heart goes out for this guy. You know what I mean? This guy is, you know, when you see something about people that are remarkably talented, you know what I mean? That somewhere, somehow, it's almost like they have to die young or young enough because it's almost like they're not supposed to grow old in front of our eyes. And, I mean, the guy is alive, you know what I mean? And I'm hoping that he'll be able to recover and come back. But to me, you know, the fact that he played the role of Ray Charles, and he did it I don't know that anybody else, there's not a single actor out there. There's no Denzel, there's nobody would have been able to play that role the way this guy played the role, precisely because of his musical talent. And the fact that he can potentially, that can become his reality, or being crazy. A blind person, is just unbelievable. So listen, praying for him and his family, wishing them well, hoping for him to come back, to recover. And all I'm asking for anybody who is really in contact with him and responsible for the hospital, come out and make an official, just an official statement.
Fine, we should know.
Just an official statement. for the family, just validate one way or the other that he's okay for. There's a lot of people that actually, do care for this man, and they would like to know that he's well. And I think in all fairness, especially to minimize the amount of conspiracy theories
Right.
and all these speculations that are taking place, somebody's got to come out and say, listen, officially, here's where we are, right?
By the way, what you're saying makes total sense. That is like, until something like that happens, whoever is gonna peddle the information that is gonna make them look better.
So, well, anyway, guys, we're going to end that situation with Jamie. And again, we'll keep an eye on him. But what I want to do is I want to quickly go through a round of, I'll tell you what the whole situation is.
Yep.
I'll ask you if it's good or bad. Give me your good, bad, and why do you think that's your position, so that we can go quickly to these points.
Okay.
Elon Musk going to China, good or bad?
Free enterprise.
Free enterprise?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Yeah.
Why do you guys think that is?
On one end, especially Elon Musk is somebody that is very he doesn't like China. So the fact that he's being able to put his big pants, and go there and negotiate is good. I don't like negotiations with our number one enemy. So that's also something that is a concern. But again, is the marketplace. What is it? Choose your enemies wisely. What a great name. It's something that is a keep your enemies closer type of thing. It's something
Correct.
that maybe, but yeah, again, I don't know. Still, Elon, I'm still trying to figure out. I love the guy. I think he's doing great, but.
Yeah.
To me, I think it's fair game. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Even with our number one enemies, I think people should be negotiating and should be talking. I don't want to have them in the dark and no one knows anything about what's going. So I think, especially somebody like Elon, I think it won't hurt him or us in any way for him to do business with China. In any capacity, I think it'll be a good thing.
I think it's also good. I think that, remarkably enough, this is one of those situations where everybody knows that there was really, like I stated before, there's not a good relationship between Tesla and China. And the fact that he's willing to say, hey, listen, look, let's come to the table. China at the same time, they rolled out the red carpet for him, to treat him.
I understand the business in India.
I hate to tell you this, he was treated better than he has been treated lately by our country. There's a lot of politicians there. And at the same time, right, this is also adding wood to the fire to the people that say, well, we don't know if we should trust you. Again, if you are doing business with our number one enemy. But the fact of the matter is that his willingness to go to the table, understanding his responsibility, he's not the president of the country, he's the CEO of a company, and his responsibility to keep it growing and profitable, and he's doing his job when it comes to those things. So good for Elon. Let's see how China, he knows already. He's going into that meeting knowing that they don't play fair, but I think that obviously he's gonna listen. The market reacted in a positive way, right? Stock went up immediately. So, Ron DeSantis. So he's every single one of his campaigns, guys. He's out there. He's campaigning. He's in front of people.
Out of the closet now.
Out of the closet, and he's out there and he's answering questions. He's also dealing with a lot of people. He knows for a fact that every single one of the locations, he's gonna be heckled, and he's firing back. He's not staying quiet. Good or bad?
Good.
I like Ron DeSantis. I like most of what he does. Okay. So I'm with it 100%. I think sometimes he might go a little too far, but right now, even some haters are good. Haters are good. So if you got more people heckling you, and you got more people talking about him in a way that all of it is good right now. I take all of it.
He's getting a lot of free markening for moments like this.
Exactly.
So here's what happened, right? Somebody just showed up and called in he said you're a fascist. You know what I mean? And the whole idea was going back to the Don't Say Gay bill, right? That was passed here, which has nothing to do with Don't Say Gay. I don't like the fact that he's not yet bringing to a conclusion the whole situation with Disney, right? Because we all agree Disney is going to continue to be around. They've been doing what they're doing for a while, and there's certain things. So there's got to be a happy medium. and it's got to be again come to the table, right?
Yeah.
For me, that's one of the things that I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
The fact that he's able to fight back
Yeah.
and made it very clear there are certain things that we are not going to allow you to do to our children and to indoctrinate in certain ways. So why do you think this is good? Obviously, for me, it's very simple. He's taking a very clear position,
I like it.
unapologetic. So,
I mean, you gotta, again, a good CEO is clear about where he's at, and he's gonna back up his position, and he's gonna make the company go that route. So this guy seems to be exactly there. So I think that's good. If you're clear about your values and principles, you won't have him compromise for anything. So
I like it a lot. Unfortunately, I think he's a little too what's the word? I think his
polarizing.
not even so much polarized.
Trump is polarized.
I think what
Okay.
it is like I said, I agree with him more than a lot of people with Ron DeSantis. But I think that unfortunately, I don't think he knows what he's up against. And I think sometimes he'll be fighting a losing battle, but I'm still gonna go for him. It's like Braveheart, Mel Gibson in the end. It's like you gonna die, but I'm gonna root for you the whole time. You'd be like,
Wow.
yes.
wait, so hang on. DeSantis, Michelle Obama.
I'll choose DeSantis over Michelle.
He
Obama
hesitated.
right now.
He
Yeah, I gotta think.
hesitated. He hesitated.
But
He
yeah, I'll choose
hesitated.
DeSantis. I do like him a lot, but like I said, unfortunately,
Can we
I
make
think
sure
he's
we
not gonna
put that out there, all over
On
everywhere
record.
on record, so that
Whenever
we
he
can-
goes to vote, if he goes to vote, I
Good
want a
idea.
camera following him.
Send it to his family too. Make sure that he's really out of the closet. So, no, listen. Again, clear position is needed. It's important. My concern right now is you still got to win the country, and
Sure.
you still got to. There's a significant amount of independence. It's got to be enough room for that level of communication. He's got to get out there even more, believe it or not. So these things actually do help him tremendously.
Free market, yeah.
Yeah, guys. State of California. We know there is a homeless crisis. By the way, that's around the world. You know what I mean? It's not. It's the whole country. They're dealing with some areas more than others. I mentioned before there was.
California as a whole, not that level.
No, I know, but the funny thing is that but it is just a reminder for everybody about how politicians, most of them truly don't have a good understanding of numbers and the fiscal responsibility or the kind of money that it takes to fix a problem. And I think that because they don't know what it takes, they also don't know how to spend it. They don't know how to use it, right? So at some point, Elon Musk is feuding with Elizabeth Warren and the United Nations, by the way, who came up with the whole, all you need is about $6 billion and you can fix the whole homeless issue in the country. What turned out to be the reality for the state of California right now is that they're spending $17 billion already, and I don't know what's your position. What do you think? Are they doing a good job or they're doing a bad job with the whole homeless crisis? $17 billion, guys.
So, me personally, it's just my opinion. I think 90%, I don't know if the number's that high, but a large amount of people who are homeless, it's not a financial issue. They have either a drug problem or they have some type of mental issue. I think that's the issue. It's not a homeless like, I can't find housing or I can't. So if you keep finding ways to get them into affordable housing, or you put up this $3 billion units, so get them. It doesn't fix the problem. The problem is these people are on drugs and they got mental issues. So if you don't attack it from that aspect, you're still gonna find people who are out on the street. They could have had a million places to go, but they're there for a completely different reason. So that's just my big take on the.
So can I ask you something? Because
homelessness,
California is at a whole other level higher than any other state, and we've personally seen it. We were having a very nice dinner in a very nice place, and right next to us, because we were outside, was somebody shooting up. And so, that being said, why the number is higher in California?
There's more drugs.
Right.
Yeah.
So because
the policies.
Trust me, I understand, but it's like
the policies of the state.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
But you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like you're for like let's legalize everything. So if legalizing everything puts us in that position, then maybe that's not because California is a lot more friendly to certain things than
No. Legalizing has nothing to do with somebody should be a crackhead. Those are two completely different
Okay.
realities. You get what I'm saying?
How?
So, for example, majority of the people who are on drugs, right? They're not dealing with a lot of illegal drugs. These are people who started maybe on prescription drugs where it was legal for them to have this drug, and then now they have a problem. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like the biggest problem is we need to deal with the drug issue, number one, and then also mental issues, a whole different can of worms.
The problem
You
with
get what I'm
the
saying?
problem with the
So-
state of California, though, is the state of California is one of those states that absolutely has created what they call a safe drug use environment. Meaning, not only that they are okay with it, not only that they are decriminalizing, the uses of drugs. In some cases, they are the ones providing the drugs to, so that in that so-called safe environment,
crack pipes.
opposed to using the money, the resources. Obviously, that is simply not working, and it's making things worse.
Yeah.
And it's obvious, you know what I mean? And they are paying for that because now you have companies. And again, we go back to the lootings, you go back to all this stuff that's going on over there.
Yeah.
Companies moving out, people that are moving out, families that are moving out, people that are saying, listen, this is just too much. Even Democrats at this point is saying, come on, guys, stop. They're like, we can't hide this anymore. We can't pretend that this is not a problem.
Yeah.
This is a significant problem, you know what I mean?
So for me, with the whole Elizabeth Warren and the UN going after them, and thinking that somebody can pay a little bit more taxes and do whatever it is, or they should pay their fair share, and not fixing the problem. Of course, they're not gonna fix the problem because it's not their money.
Correct.
They're using, and you always say this, right? Somebody else has to put the money for them to figure out how to spend it, and then bureaucracy comes into the whole equation,
Right.
and then it makes a project that is poorly managed, extremely expensive, and badly negotiated because once again, it is not their money. So, I mean, to clean up whatever it is that is happening over there, it will probably take a quarter of that amount, if not less, and it will take a private company to come in, like an actual entrepreneur to come in and say, what is the problem? Can we address it from the two perspectives, drug issue, mental health, and can we create programs and systems in place to be able to do that? But to the whole good or bad, terrible. It's not even bad. It's terrible what's happening over there. So
Yeah, and the problem right now, though, is that when you're looking into, again, this very specific policies, right? And you're looking at a state that has an economy that is larger than many other countries.
Yeah.
You can raise the taxes all you want and throw all the money into all this. If you're going to mismanage the money, and if you're going to come up with policies that instead of helping the situation just makes it worse, then all you're doing is you're throwing good money on top of bad money. It's never a good idea. And so at this point, what I'm hoping for is that other people will continue to highlight the situation and just be a little more honest. We have a crisis here that's going on. You have a lot of people that do need some real help, and just giving them more drugs or allowing them to stay in places where they shouldn't be is not a good idea. How is it possible, right, that we can set up a tent in New York to accommodate people that just cross the border, but we don't know how to do absolutely anything for our own citizens and people that happen to be here?
Yep.
Those are the things that just don't make sense about how we run our money, policies. And in some cases, I hate to tell you this, you need, for certain policies to continue to be, some people have to allow a level of madness or craziness or a crisis have to be always around to say, see, that's why we need more money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's a never-ending type of situation. So definitely bad, definitely horrible.
Yep.
And I hope the people, especially when you have a guy that's thinking about running for president, bragging about the condition of his state, I understand how he can potentially brag about the condition of California right now. But anyway, guys, the final thing that I wanted to address was just student loans are over. The party's over. Good or bad?
Oh man, I have an issue with just.
By the way, it's not the student loans are over. It's
Yeah.
just that the whole idea of debt forgiveness.
Yes.
And you don't need to make any payments right now. We're
Yeah.
gonna figure this out. And a few of you actually, by the way, a lot of people got away with.
Yeah.
They're not gonna pay anything, but some other people are still on the hook.
Mm-hmm.
But the party's over essentially.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
coming to an end.
So I feel like this is gonna be a bad thing. I'm not 100% sure if it will, but I feel like it's.
What
gonna
part
be
of
bad.
it?
The fact that so number one, I think this is a bigger problem. The biggest problem is that school is way too expensive.
Yeah.
There's no reason why it should cost.
And it's not providing the results.
Correct. So then I feel like now that more people are gonna be forced to pay these ridiculous amounts for a degree that they're not using, is just gonna lead to more financial pressure. You know, whether that be from the kids or the parents who took the student loan out on the kids. I think it's gonna lead to more people struggling financially. Not saying that people should take out loans that they can't pay back, but I think it's just gonna add a bigger problem to somebody who's already struggling financially. I didn't have to think about these loans for the last 3 years. Now I got an extra $300 bill. Where am I
Yeah.
getting this $300 from? And then you're gonna. I don't see it as a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, inflation is putting already pressure on people. So for me, it's bad, right? Because inflation is putting a lot of pressure on people already. In addition to that, they weren't used to making a payment. They were getting free money during COVID, right? And then in addition to that, there was a whole thing on the table that it was going to be taken off. Right now, it's not only not being taken off, but it's coming back and they got to start paying on it. So, I mean, it's not a good look. Honestly, we got to see what's going to be the campaign, because what happened was with this thing, I don't know if you remember, part of the whole campaigning process is we'll take care of your student loan or whatever. And then things were put into place where the student loan thing happened, and a lot of the stuff ended up going, a lot of people were like, oh man, I'm voting because they're going to forgive my $10,000, pay my student loans, pay. You see a lot of that on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
So at some point, this is gonna, like, just watch. Around when 2024, when the election is gonna be happening, something like this is gonna come up on the table. They're gonna put a pause. They're gonna pause something again, where it's gonna happen. So I think this is just an endless cycle, just like the whole immigration thing, that it becomes relevant at the moment that is relevant, and they'll put a Band-Aid on it, on a giant bleeding, like, like about to die thing. And at the end of the day, the people that get hurt is the everyday family. Mm-hmm. Why? Because they're thinking that somebody else is going to fix their problem, instead of having personal accountability, personal responsibility, and teaching not even that, somebody else fixing their problem. Is that you're counting on that and they don't come through. So it's like that is a huge issue. Yeah. It's unfortunate that it's happening. Then again, I don't think anybody that, I don't think the person that got their CDL, right, the trucker's license, that is working their butt off whenever their AC breaks in the middle of summer and they're driving that damn thing for hours on a day. They shouldn't.
You both make a lot more money with a simple life insurance license.
Oh, 100%.
That somebody makes with a college degree at this very moment.
I was explaining to one guy that just got started with us, and I told him, I'm like, look, this little thing that we do, the little orientation certificate that we celebrate with you, that you're gonna get, for me, it made me about $700,000 in the past, 8 years. Yeah. And so that being said, that wasn't the case with my college degree, that I had student loans that I had to pay for, and I couldn't afford it because I was still making the same $40,000, the same $40,000, but I had these student loans that I had to come up with, and I will never be able to just be like, here's the money for it.
Correct.
Type of thing.
Correct. So. For me, guys, listen, the fact that taxpayers are going to be on the hook every time any movement, people that literally say, hey, it's not that I don't appreciate college. I just never wanted to go in my life. I want my life to be different. I didn't go to college. My children are thinking about going a different path. Whatever the case may be, the fact that you want to socialize it, and make everybody responsible for the people that now are saying, hey, this is too much. Why do I pay for it? that tells you a couple of things. You know what I mean? One of them is, everybody just goes along with a system that is definitely not working. The whole idea of you got to go to school and get a degree, and we know that right now all of those concepts are being challenged. Prices, the more that you help and more money the government puts into these things, the only thing that it does is prices go even higher because they say somebody's going to throw some money at us no matter what.
Correct.
When you're talking about education reform, you also have to reform the way their financial structure and system.
Yeah.
Because if you're a young man is going into school, right, and you're sitting down with somebody from their financial aid or their financial department, they want to give you money like they want to give you drugs. It's like, no, don't worry about it. You don't have to pay for it right now. Just like it's a horrible conversation.
Yeah.
And I tell you this because myself and my children, just to sitting to have the conversation saying, and literally, I remember telling one of the individuals, how many times she needs to tell you that we don't need to borrow any money before you stop pushing.
Wow.
But it's there, just take it. Why not?
Yeah.
Like literally, that's one of the things that it's there. It's available. You can just take it right now. You know what I mean? You don't have to no questions. And then later on, just think about that, right?
And that's for
Now, if you don't
18-year-olds.
have, right? And now, so if I'm an 18-year-old,
18-year-old getting indebted for to the tune of $100,000.
So if we don't address that, if we don't address the fact that the people that you have right now in the financial aid departments of every single one of these institutions is somebody who's behaving like a drug pusher, we're gonna keep running into this situation. This is getting out of hand. I just don't believe that it's a good idea for us to allow the taxpayers to become responsible.
Not only that, it's like some of the degrees are definitely not useful. I got a degree in hospitality. I took 4 classes related to beer, wine, and
That
spirits.
explains
Yeah, so it's like I'm a certified cicerone. Thanks to that cost me only
That's
useful, though.
$30,000 in student loan. I just don't. By the way, I love it. I like it. I just don't think that
It should cost so much.
No, and you don't need to go through 4 years of school
I
to
can
learn
send
about
you-
beer.
I
Just
can
drink
send
a
you-
lot.
I
Like
can
trust
send you
me.
a couple of videos from YouTube right now that could have saved you.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
money.
true, true.
100%. It's there's gender
University.
studies, liberal arts. Like seriously, by the way, we're paying taxpayers. The truck driver is paying the liberal arts degree for
That's
somebody. It's just
Well,
It's a big problem.
Anyway, guys, I think we need to bring this to
Yes,
a
yes,
conclusion.
100%.
Yes.
You guys are always lying to me. It's going to be a short video. It never is, but I do hope that you gain enough value out of everything that was discussed today. Hopefully, again, things that you need to be aware of, just have a better perspective. Guys, if you like anything that we doing here, bringing you this conversation, right, we definitely want to see you, commenting and
what do you
like,
look for on a candidate?
subscribe, pass it
Share,
around.
share, yep.
What would be your top 7 points, top 10 points?
Yeah.
Let us know.
Did you add some? Take them off.
Great to see you. We'll
Yes.
see you the next one. Take care.
22.
Bye-bye.